Hello everyone, greetings of the day. In this video, I'll be discussing a concept in database management systems called as characteristics of database approach. Before looking into what are different characteristics of database approach, first thing we need to understand is ultimately database tries to store our related information. Before going to database approach, we used to store our information in traditional file system. So these characteristics of database approach we will be discussing with respect to traditional file system. What used to happen in traditional file system? The same data that we are trying to store in database, we used to store it before in traditional file system. If I am making use of traditional file system, what I would do, first I will write an application program. That application program is accessing a file. Okay, I am writing application program. I am writing one application program. That application program in turn will have its associated file which stores the information that this application program is accessing. What I am trying to tell here is, let us take an example of a college maintaining student information. Now, a college or university usually has different departments. Okay, so, there can be one department called as account section. There can be another department called as exam section. Account section is maintaining its own application program. Similarly, exam section also has its own application program. Now here, application program at the account section has generated its own file. Application program at exam section also has generated its own file. Okay. Now, what exactly information might be stored in this this file generated by these application programs? Now, the application program of account section deals with all the fees details of a student. Let us say there can be student number, student name, followed by his semester, followed by his fees paid, his fees pending. Whereas this exam section, application program at exam section is written to maintain information about results of this student, the same student. Now, this information will have roll number, name, followed by semester, next marks in subject 1, marks in subject 2, and so on. Now, what happens here? I am storing data at two different places. Ultimately, these two data belong to same student. Roll number 1, roll number 1. He is present at two different places. Now, what is the problem if I am storing at two different places? Okay. If I am using traditional approach, I will end up with different problems such as, there will be different problems such as, first one, wastage of storage space, wastage of storage. Okay. Next, there will be redundancy of data. Next, there will be lack of up-to-date information. Wastage of storage, you can see same information or information regarding the student is stored at two different places. When information is stored at two different places, what happens? I am just wasting my storage space. Next is, I am calling it as redundancy. Same data stored at two different places. Now, usually if I have to take an example, usually it happens, a student's name might be stored in the account section as, let us say, ABC with roll number 1. Same student information might be stored in the exam section as ABCD. Usually we come across some such scenario where we see we go for usually name correction in the marks card. The problem is the spelling might be different in the marks card that we have received, and when we checked in account section, the spelling might be correct. This usually happens because of the reason that we are storing same information at two different places. Such redundant information or such inconsistency is the result of redundancy. Inconsistent data. That is, same data, roll number 1, name of roll number 1 is stored as ABC at the account section, and name of roll number 1 is stored at ABCD at exam section. That is because of the reason that I am storing data at two different places. Okay, that is redundancy. Next comes lack of up-to-date information. Let us say there can be 10 students present at the account section. There can be only 9 students present at the exam section. Okay. If I refer these two data, there is update at one place, there is update at the other place is not reflected. Okay. Whenever there is change in data at one place, for example, now this data, this name is presented ABC. Now if I am updating it to ABC, okay, now, or if I am updating it as ADC, this should be automatically reflected at the account section also. So whatever update I am performing at one place will not be reflected at another place. That is the problem associated if I am storing data at two different places. This is the problem that arises when we are making use of our traditional file system. So our database must have additional benefits that over existing file system. So we will be discussing characteristics of database approach with respect to or over traditional file system. We will see these characteristics one by one. First I will list out all the characteristics. After that I will discuss each characteristic in detail. Basically there are 4 characteristics. First one is self-describing nature of database approach. Okay. Instead of listing them down, I will go on explaining one by one. Okay. Our first characteristic of database approach is self-describing nature of DB approach. Now, whenever we go for an interview, usually the first question that will be asked is introduce yourself. What we usually do, if I am asked the question that introduce yourself, I will tell my name, then I will tell my qualification, then my additional degrees that I have received, then my expertise that I will explain, my place, my age, all the things, my work experience, everything I will explain myself. Now the same concept is present here also. Here I am calling our database approach as self-describing in nature, and this self-describing nature is not present in our existing file system approach. Now in our database approach, first thing we need to keep in mind is we are maintaining all the information at one centralized repository. Okay, all the application programs that are written will be accessing same data. Okay, database will have its own structure of the data that is being stored. All the application programs are retrieving the information based upon their needs. For example, account section, exam section, all the information stored at one centralized repository in one row. So what information is needed by account section person, he is extracting. What information is needed by exam section person, he is also extracting. Okay, now that data I am storing at one place, that data is self-describing in nature. That is, that data, our DBMS approach should tell about what exactly is the structure of data that I have stored, how I have stored it, what data types I have used, what all rules can be present on that database. Okay. Now this capability is provided to the DBMS approach by making use of a specific feature called as catalog. Okay. Now if we go through the diagram of database system environment. At the top end, user will be present. Okay, user will be accessing application programs. These application programs will be referring to something called as our DBMS, that is database system management, database management system. Okay, this database management system will be divided into two sub-modules. One part is the software to process the queries, software to process queries that are generated by application program. There will be another module which is called as software to access stored data. Okay, at the bottom, and this DBMS module will be communicating with two parts. This is our actual stored database, and this part is actually what we call as catalog. Okay, now if we observe here, the actual user is present here. Okay, user is present here, but my stored information is present at the bottom. That is, if it is not visible, I'll just draw what I have drawn here. Okay, this is stored database. Beside that, I am having something called as catalog. Okay, this is stored database. Fine. Now user is present here. He is trying to access stored database directly. If I view raw data that is stored in the database to the user, it will be of no use to the user. User cannot understand the raw data. If I for example, if I am checking the result, okay, instead of providing me with an option of selecting the semester and roll number, if I am directly shown with the complete file, I will not be able to search where exactly my result is present. So for that purpose, what do? We come up with application programs. Application programs are written to provide an interface to the user. Okay, user makes use of application programs. There I will be entering my semester. After that, I will be entering my roll number. Okay, the input that I am giving, is extracted from the application program and given to the our DBMS module, which is called as software to process queries. The software to process queries takes the input from the application program and generates a query. By query, we mean a question that is to be used to search our stored database. Now, this software to process queries gives the data to next module, that is software to access stored data. This module, software to access stored data, will know how exactly to access the stored database that is present here. We are having set of programs that are specifically written for this purpose. What this software to access stored data does, it goes through the catalog. Okay, it goes through the catalog. What exactly is present in this catalog? How exactly data is stored in this database? What are its data types? What are constraints on it? Everything is present in this catalog. Okay, this catalog is very much similar to, for example, if I am trying to read a concept in a textbook, okay, a big size textbook, I want to read a particular concept in that textbook. Now, if I go on searching in that textbook, it is time consuming, and I may get the information or may not get the information because of human errors. Now, instead of that, what we usually do, instead of searching the book, first we go through the something called as index. Okay, before beginning of the book, there will be an index present. That index will have chapter names. After that, what all concepts are present within that chapter. Followed by, there will be a page number present for each concept. So first what we do, I will go on searching for the concept that I am interested in this index. Okay, after going through that index, whenever I get my concept, I will just note down that page number. Then what I will do, I will open the book directly. I will go to that page number and read the concept that I need. Very much similar to that, we have something called as catalog. This catalog has how exactly data is stored in the actual database. Remember, this catalog is not actual database. Okay, size of that actual database might be completely different. For example, the table, only the structure of that table, first row which has column names, okay, followed along with its data types, that is stored in this catalog. And after that, the constraints that are defined also. So I will write an example of what exactly can be stored in a database. What exactly that can be stored in a catalog. Let us say I have written a database or written a table that maintains student information. Okay, I will just consider 3-4 columns: roll number, name, class, and aggregate. Okay, there can be around 1,000 students present in my database. This is actual database. This is the actual database which has 100 entries in it. Okay, this is what is actually stored in stored database. Now what exactly catalog has? Catalog has only this first row along with data types of all these columns. What exactly is the data type of all these columns is stored in the catalog along with how the data is stored. That means what is the what structure they are using, the database has used to store the data, that is also present in your catalog. Okay, so whichever module is trying to access the actual database, what it does is first it goes through the catalog, very much similar to how I was going through the index before reading the textbooks. Very much similar to that. First what I will do, if I am going through, if I am an application programmer, let us say I am an application programmer, now I am writing a program for a specific reason. Okay, first I need to know how exactly data is stored. Okay, how exactly data is stored, that is known to me, that should be known to me. So for that purpose, what I am doing, first I am going through the catalog. There only first row is present along with the data types, okay, and constraints present on each column. Okay, I should also mention here, I'll just write down what all will be stored. Structure of the data that is stored, structure of the data that is stored, okay, followed after that data types of all the data. Next, constraints on these data. Constraints on these data must also be stored. I hope I am clear about structure of the data, that is how many columns are present and how the data is physically stored in the system. Then data type of each column, because if I am an application programmer, I need to know the data types to refer to this data. Okay, now and next I have written something called as constraints. Now what can be meaning of this constraint? Let us say I am having one more column. Now I am having one more column called as age. Okay, if a student enters value as 5, if a student enters value for the age as 5, it is invalid data. Why it is invalid? Because in real world a database always has its own mini world. Okay, it represents real world aspects. Okay, every database has a specific purpose that it is designed for. Now if I am entering age 5 in a college database, that is invalid because there cannot be a student present in its mini world with value 5. So this becomes the valid value should be between 16 and 21 or 22. Okay, minimum should be 16 or 17. This is a type of constraint. This is a type of constraint that I am defining over attribute age. Okay, all these constraints are also written maintained in our catalog. Okay, so this presence of this catalog helps all the users who are accessing the database. So presence of catalog brings our database approach the characteristic that self-describing nature of database approach. Okay, because of presence of catalog we call our database as describing itself. I hope I am clear about this first feature or first characteristic. We'll see next, and I should also mention this characteristic is absent in traditional file system approach. If I am an application programmer, physically, manually I have to open the file and check what is the structure of the data that is being stored. Whereas in DB approach, what I will do, I will just refer the catalog. Okay, if I am writing a program to access particular data, I need to know what is the structure of my data, what are different data types of my data. Okay, so for that purpose, what I am going through, I am just going through the catalog. After that, I am going through the stored database. Just remember, there cannot be access to stored database without access to the catalog. Okay, and presence of this catalog brings our database the first characteristic, that is self-describing nature. Now let us move on to the next characteristic of the database approach, that is second characteristic is insulation between program and data and data abstraction. Insulation between the program data and data abstraction. Before going through this point, I should mention one thing here. Let us say if I am making use of the traditional file system approach. Now in traditional file system approach, what I have done, I have written the program and I am referring a file for that program. Now suddenly if I change that structure of that file, okay, before some column or some information was not present in the file, manually I am updating that file and making changes to it. Now what will happen to my application program? If I am using traditional file system approach, that application program is referring to inconsistent data. Okay, it cannot access that stored data, that changed data. That is the problem that arises in traditional file system approach. So to overcome this, database approach provides two capabilities mainly. First one is program data independence. Program data independence. Next one is program operation independence. If a system is having these two characteristics, if a system or if a software is having these two characteristics, such software is said to have data abstraction. Now let us see what is meaning of program data independence and program operation independence. Fine. Now by program data independence we mean the capability to change structure of the data or the capability to change stored data without having to change programs written over that data. Okay, I am having data stored. Okay, over that, to access that data, I am having application programs. If I change this data, that those application programs must still be able to access that data. Okay, that is meaning of this program data independence. How to achieve this? That is the main thing now. Exactly what I am trying to speak is, let us say I have written, before I have given structure to my database and I am having 3 columns to add: roll number, name, followed by class. 3 columns I have written, I have described in my database. While defining the database, I have given 3 columns. Now as need arises, DBMS software must be able to cooperate with the changes that are required. Okay, so next I came across a requirement that I need to add one more attribute or one more column with age, with the name age. Now before, on these 3 columns I will be having application programs that are running over these 3 columns. For example, my interface, the user application program that is given to me, provides me with the option that I have to enter roll number. Okay, there will be a text box present like this where I will be entering my roll number. Okay, in return it is fetching me name and class. That was the application program that was written before. Now what happened? I changed structure of my data. Stored structure of my data is being changed. But for the input, I am still only giving roll number. Okay, I am only giving roll number as the input. This is the application program now. Now what I did, I changed the structure of my stored data. Beauty of database approach is whatever changes I am making, it is reflected at the catalog. Okay, because catalog had the first row, that is structure of your database is present in the catalog. Whichever application program is referring or is trying to access the stored database, what it is doing, it is first referring to the catalog. Okay, what I have to do, if I make any changes to the structure of my database, if I am making any changes to structure of my database, that I am updating in my catalog. Fine. So this application program that was written before accessing the actual stored database, first it refers to the catalog. When it refers to the catalog, it will come to know, okay, there are 4 columns present in the data that I am accessing. So what it will do, it will make necessary arrangements and result will be still retrieved. Okay, this specific feature we called as program data independence. The capacity of changing the data without having to change the programs written over it. Now let us see what can be meaning of program operation independence. This first I need to mention what exactly is meaning of this operation. Okay, our database gives us the capacity of giving structure to my data, that is what type of data I am storing in my database and how exactly I am storing, that is how many columns are present in my database, that I am mentioning. Okay, how many attributes, what are their data types, then I am giving constraints over them. Okay, in some databases, for example object oriented databases, what happens, we can define operations over my data also. For example, let us say I am giving structure to my database like this, where I want to store roll number, I want to store name followed by marks 1 and marks 2. Okay, now I want the total of these 2 marks to be calculated automatically. So what I will do, I will write an operation which fills value for this field total. Okay, what this operation does, user when entering the values, he will enter roll number, okay, he will enter name, will enter marks in first subject, okay, next marks in second subject. So automatically this total value should be calculated and filled here. So this is duty of the operation that I am writing. Okay, and this is an example of how operations are declared. Now these operations, when we are discussing operations are usually mentioned by making use of 2 terms. First one is interface. Every operation will have an interface. Okay, then it will have an implementation or method. You can call it as an implementation or method. Okay, now what exactly is present in this interface? Actually, how this operation, how we calculated the total marks, the code for that will be present in the actual implementation or method. How to calculate is present here. Okay, how to in this process, what all variables I will need, what exactly is the name of this implementation, name of implementation, and data types of data that are used in this implementation. For example, I need M1 variable, M2 variable. Okay, these 2 variables along with its data types is present in this interface along with name of this implementation. Okay, this information is stored as an interface. So by program operation independence, we mean the capacity to change this implementation or method without having to change the interface. Okay, capacity to change the implementation without having to change the interface and the application programs that are referring to it. Okay, this capability is called as program operation independence. So if a system is having these two characteristics, that is program data independence and program operation independence, it is such system is said to provide data abstraction. I will move on to next characteristic of the database approach, which is the next characteristic of the database approach is support of multiple views of data. Now this characteristic comes into picture because we are storing all the information at one place. For example, previously we saw in traditional file system approach, I had written on the board that one application program at the account section was maintaining roll number, name, then fees paid and fees pending. Okay. Another application program at the exam section was maintaining roll number, name followed by class, then subject marks in subject 1, subject 2, subject 3 and so on. Okay. Now what happens in database approach, all the information is stored at one place. All the information is stored at one place in the form of a table. Okay. Roll number is present here. Okay. Name is present here only. Then class is present here only. Then marks in subject 1 is present here. Marks in subject 2 is present here. Then fees paid is present here. Next, fees pending is present here, and in the same table. All the information I am maintaining in same table. Okay. For example, now account section clerk wants to check what is the due amount of roll number 10. So what roll numbers are stored here, okay, serially. What he will do, he will for him we need to provide a view, or we need to provide him his required data. By view we mean the capability of providing extracted data from stored database. Okay, he is not interested in what is the marks that a student has scored in both the subject. He is only interested in what is his fees paid and fees pending. He is interested in roll number, name, class followed by fees paid and fees pending. So what database does? Our database just provides him to the account section person. It just provides 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5. Only these 5 values will be shown to the account section person. Whereas to the fees, to the exam section person, what it does? It provides with roll number, name, class, subject 1, subject